Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the last session. Thank you for giving me this prestigious opportunity. My topic is VSD with pneumonia, when to treat. VSD is the second most common, as we know, it is the second most common congenital heart disease, comprising 20% of all the congenital heart disease. 10% of all amongst those are large VSDs, and they die usually in first year due to chronic heart failure. Large unrestricted VSD is defined as echo-wise more than 2/3 of the aortic root diameter or more than 1 centimeter per meter square. If there is no pressure gradient between LV or RV, or the RV pressure is more than 2/3 of the LV pressure, QPQ is more than 2:1, if there is significant volume overload, or if there is risk of cardiac failure or increased PVR. This is the hemodynamics of large VSD. We know that there is decline in PVR at 4 to 6 weeks of age, which causes increase in pulmonary blood flow. Hence, there is increase in pulmonary venous return, LALV volume overload, increase LV-EDP, LA pressure increases, and there is pulmonary venous pressure. So, in a large VSD, ultimately, pulmonary artery as well as venous pressure increases. Pulmonary venous pressure, increase in pulmonary venous pressure ultimately leads to pulmonary edema. And RV compliance also increases beyond 6 months. So, there is RV dilatation and RVH as a result of PH. The pathophysiology of LRI, we know that if there is interstitial edema, then and pulmonary venodilatation, there is compression of the bronchioles, which causes retention of secretion. Opening up of the anastomotic channels are also there, which causes the bronchial mucosal congestion. There may be bronchial compression and goblet cell hypertrophy, which leads to impaired mucociliary clearance. Dilated LPA may also compress the left bronchus, and there may be retention of secretion. Overall, in Indian scenario, there is poor immunity, which causes proneness to infections. These are the symptoms and signs. Among the symptoms, we see failure to thrive, tachypnea, poor feeding, there is suck cycle, increased sweating, pneumonia, chest retractions, and often dysmorphic child. And according to the signs, there is hyperdynamic precordia, features of cardiomegaly. We can hear gallop rhythm. There is a systolic murmur, mid-diastolic murmur at the apex, loud P2, and wide split S2. The chest X-ray shows, it clearly shows cardiomegaly and plethoric lung field, and this is the low velocity left to right VSD. Now, what should be the timing of closure of large VSD? As per the guidelines, if there is uncontrollable heart failure, which is not controlled by medications, we should close the VSD as soon as possible. And if it is controlled by medications, then we can close by 6 months of age. However, all patients with VSD must be advised to maintain a good hygiene, and vaccination with pneumococcus vaccine and flu vaccine should be given. Now, what should be the treatment options? The ideal scenario should be early surgical VSD closure in a stable, non-septic condition with controlled heart failure during the same hospitalization. However, in our scenario, it is not possible often. So, surgical VSD closure at the earliest, safest opportunity in the same hospitalization is our target. Often, we have to do medical management of heart failure and pneumonia and discharge them for readmission for elective closure. And if by medically it is not controlled, we have to do by PA band, followed by future corrective surgery. Now, what is the dilemma in these subset of patients? It is the timing of the surgery. As pneumonia and CHD with increased pulmonary blood flow is a very dreadful situation. If we close it too early, then CPB related lung injury exacerbates, as there is release of complements, kinins, endotoxins, and all these products, which ultimately leads to exacerbates the lung injury. And if we delay it, the child is subjected to furthermore new infections or new pneumonia. And also, transient increase in PVR results from lung infection and impaired gas exchange. They might result in right to left shunting. This creates uncertainty in determining the optimal timing of surgical intervention. In our developing countries, these are the challenges which we face, like malnutrition, delayed presentation, incomplete vaccination status, poor hygiene sense or lack of hand washing, overcrowding, increased cost of prophylactic palivizumab, difficult to wean and extubate these patients because they have got severe sepsis. And if they're intubated, we face complications due to intubations like nosocomial infections and finally higher mortality. Now, a few special scenarios like in RSV pneumonia, who are the victims? Premature infants in their first 6 months and children with underlying cardiac disease or pulmonary disease in their first 2 years. What should be the timing in RSV? According to guidelines, the surgical correction, if possible, should be deferred for at least 6 to 8 weeks, as cardiopulmonary bypass will double the risk of postoperative pulmonary complications. These children are likely to have prolonged hospital stay, more likely to require admission to ICU and mechanical ventilation. And at specific countries, if it is affordable, if it is possible, prophylactic palivizumab is given for 5 months. If we come to COVID pneumonia, there are no specific guidelines, but our institutional protocol is that surgery needs to be planned early. In these patients, we can, if possible, we can delay by a few weeks, but it is very risky to delay by more than a month. Now, I would like to share our hospital data. I have summarized it. In these data, I have shown that there are total, in this 2021, total 18 patients were admitted with large VSD with severe PH. 3 of them were AVSDs and rest of them were large VSD. The age were ranging from 2 months to 1.5 years. All of them were severely malnourished. Pre-op intubations were done in 8 of them, out of which 6 patients succumbed to death. 3 of them were RSV positive and 1 of them were rhinoentero positive. No one of them were proven blood culture, bacterial culture positive. So what was our outcome? Out of 18 cases, 8 cases were operated and non-operated cases were 10. And out of 8 operated cases, 7 were discharged and 1 of them were dead. And out of the non-operated patients, 6 faced mortality and 4 were discharged. Out of them, 2 were electively operated. Now, in our institution, we followed the criteria. What are the criteria of admission? The preoperative lung infections were defined as any 4 out of 5. Fever, signs of respiratory distress, signs of LRTI like rales for bronchial breath sound or wheeze, increased total leukocyte count, patchy opacities of chest X-ray. All the patients, they underwent comprehensive clinical evaluation and basic lab investigations like routine blood and bacterial culture, tracheal secretions, gas analysis, ECG, chest X-ray were done. Empirical IV antibiotics were selected on the basis of our institutional protocol. Mechanical ventilation was given to due to these reasons: increased work of breathing with impending respiratory failure, heart failure not responding to maximum pharmacological support, acute respiratory failure with significant hypercarbia, hypoxemia, or both. We decided to operate based on the clinical evaluation and echocardiographic documentation of left to right shunt. Cardiac catheterization was performed if there is sustained increase in PVR, persistent right to left shunt across the defect, or persistent systemic desaturation. Now we followed the protocol that when to operate. The child should be at least afebrile for last 48 hours. There should be a decreasing trend of counts and platelet counts. At least there should be partial radiological clearance of lung infiltrates, improved arterial blood gases, echocardiographic demonstration of predominant left to right is must, and at least last culture should be sterile. Standard post-operative care was given in our ICU. They are ventilated in a PRVC, PC or IR ventilation mode. NIV and HFNC was used post-extubation. Standard epinephrine, norepinephrine, vasopressin, vasoactive agents, they were used. Complications were managed according to protocol. Post-operative nutrition was accomplished by early energy-dense nasogastric feed. Now, to supplement my presentation, I have quoted few papers. Like this is a paper, iconic paper of Bhatt et al. They have described hospital management and outcome of critically ill infants presenting with large VSD and pneumonia requiring mechanical ventilation. They have reviewed the records of all consecutive infants admitted between 1998 and 2002 with VSD and pneumonia, and clearly they have concluded that corrective surgery should be opted as early as possible for selected critically ill patients that should be considered. In their group also, out of 18 patients, 12 of them got operated, and out of them 11 got discharged, and in unoperated arm the death was 5. According to this paper, which is by Joseph Seitz, they told the infant who developed respiratory failure related to RSV pneumonitis and requiring mechanical ventilation, they have reported a case where they have surgically closed the VSD within 4 weeks of RSV. So here the infant had large VSD with severe PH. He was extubated pre-op and underwent VSD closure within 4 weeks. But there was a complication that approximately 6 weeks later developed chylous pericardial effusion. According to this paper, last 2 papers, they are telling the timing of surgery in active respiratory infections or in case of a CHT. They have also done a retrospective study which tell us in which they have identified 20 cases. They concluded that cardiac surgery on CHT during active LRI may lead to prolongation of extubation and also increased ICU stay. So these are our take-home messages. VSD with pneumonia is a very difficult subset to treat. Primordial prevention in Indian scenario is not feasible. Corrective surgery should be aggressively planned. Can be complicated by turbulent post-op course and prolonged ICU stay, but favorable outcome is expected if corrective surgery is done at a proper time. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome you to PCSI 2022. Welcome to the City of Joy for the next PCSI. Thank you.